Hi kids, I'm so excited that you could join me this evening, and I am even more excited to be reading to you chapter 2 from our book, which is entitled We Cannot See God. I think you probably already knew that we can't see God, but this chapter is going to explain why. And today I'm actually going to be turning my camera around so that you can see the words and read along with me, okay? Here we go. We cannot see God. Would you like to see God? We have learned that we cannot see God. Nobody has ever seen God. Why cannot we see God? We cannot see God because He is spirit. We cannot see a spirit. What is a spirit? Well, when God made you, He gave you a body and a spirit, or a soul. Your spirit lives inside your body. Your spirit is the real you. It is your spirit inside your body that listens while we read. It is your spirit that thinks and loves, and it is your spirit that is happy and makes you smile. It is your spirit that is sad sometimes and makes the tears come. Nobody can see your spirit, but you can feel it living there inside of you. Now God is all spirit. He does not have a body. That is why He cannot see Him. But He sees and hears and loves. He sees and hears much more than we can see or hear, even though we cannot see Him. There is a reason, too, why we must not see God. God is all glorious. That means that He is very holy and shiny bright. The Bible tells us about a man named Moses. Moses was a good friend of God. God often talked to Moses, but Moses never saw God. One day, Moses said to God, "Please, show me your glory." God said to Moses, "No man can see me and live, but I will hide you in the rocks, and then I will pass by you." Moses went up on a mountain alone. God hid him between the rocks, and God passed by him. God let Moses see just a little bit of His glory. Even a man like Moses could not stand to see more than that of God's glory. When Moses came down from the mountain, his face was bright as sunshine. Just seeing a little of God's glory had made his face shine so bright that the people were afraid of him. The glory of God is so bright that nobody could bear to see Him. We cannot bear to look at the sun when it shines bright. It hurts our eyes to look at the sun. God's glory is much greater than the glory of the sun, and it is good that we cannot see God. The sunshine and the stars tell us about His glory, but if we saw Him or even part of His glory, we would be very afraid. We could not even live. So that's the end of our chapter today. I have a couple questions for you if you would like to answer them with me. The first question is, has anybody ever seen God? And if you do the catechism with your mom and dad, you might remember that there is a catechism question kind of similar to this question here. And the answer is that nobody has ever seen God. And the reason for that is that God is a spirit. And because He is a spirit, He doesn't have a body like we do. The other question that is in our book today is, why would it not be good for us to see God? And if you think back to the chapter that we just read about Moses and him asking if he could be seeing God's glory, I think you remember that the outcome of that for Moses was not very good, but God was still very merciful to Moses, and that He did allow Moses to see the back of God's glory, but not the front. And God hid Moses in the cleft of the rock, and that's a beautiful picture for us as Christians to remember that sometimes we might ask things of God that maybe aren't really good things to ask God, that are maybe some selfish things, but that God is still very merciful and very kind to give us to give us little glimpses of His glory, and that was very loving what God did. So now we are going to read Psalm 104, verses 1 through 13. And that will be the end of our devotion tonight. So here I'm going to turn the camera back around so that you can see my Bible. Psalm 104. Bless the Lord, O my soul. O Lord my God, you are very great. You are clothed with honor and majesty. Who cover yourself with light as with a garment, who stretch out the heavens like a curtain. He lays the beams of his upper chambers in the waters, who makes the clouds his chariot, who walks on the wings of the wind, who makes his angels spirits and his ministers a flame of fire. You who laid the foundation of the earth so that it could not be moved forever, you covered it with the deep as with a garment. The waters stood above the mountains. At your rebuke they fled, and at the voice of your thunder they hastened away. They went up over the mountains, and they went down into the valleys, to the place which you founded for them. You have set a boundary that they may not pass over, that they may not return to cover the earth. He sends the springs into the valleys. I'm recording something, guys. And they flow among the hills. They give drink to every beast of the field, and the wild donkeys quench their thirst. By them the birds of the heavens have their home. They sing among the branches. He waters the hills from his upper chambers, and the earth is satisfied with the fruit of your works. And I just want to point out to you, verse 12 says, by them the birds of the heavens have their home, and they sing among the branches. And today when I got up this morning, I was looking outside my window, and I actually went outside for a little bit because I was watching the birds. And I don't know if you notice, but the birdies are out this time of year, even though it's cold and it's still December and all the leaves have fallen off the trees. The birdies are out and they're singing and they're happy, and they are chirping and looking for little pieces of food in the ground. And that was really fun for me to watch the birds this morning. The other thing that I wanted to point out is that when it says he waters the hills from his upper chambers, Gianna asked me tonight, she said, Mom, what are upper chambers? And I told her that I think what upper chambers is maybe the clouds. And we know that God is the God who created the waters and orders them into rivers and lakes and oceans. But it could also mean that the upper chambers are the heavens. So anyway, those are some things to think about when you read this psalm. I hope you have a great night and you get a nice warm sleep tonight. See you tomorrow. Bye.